In 1.2, we're going to talk about terrestrial biomes. The objective for this lesson is to describe the global distribution and principal environmental aspects of terrestrial biomes. So a biome contains characteristic communities of plants and animals, and they are adapted to the specific combination of precipitation and temperature in that area. That determines climate, and therefore that determines what kind of plants and animals are able to thrive in that climate. The major terrestrial biomes include the taiga, temperate rainforest, temperate seasonal forest, tropical rainforest, shrubland, temperate grassland, savanna, desert, and tundra. Now when we get to biomes, there's just so much information you could know, but AP doesn't really test on this a whole bunch, so I've just included sparse details of the bare minimum of what you probably should know. You just want to be familiar with the region and what kind of animals and plants would be adapted to that environment based upon what the weather is like. The taiga, sometimes also called boreal forest, include places like in Canada and northern Europe, northern Russia. It's got coniferous trees, so they have cones, evergreen trees, they grow year-round, they have cold, it's very cold, and they don't get a lot of precipitation. The temperate rainforest doesn't get a lot of recognition, because whenever we hear the word rainforest, we automatically assume it's a tropical rainforest. But a tropical rainforest is very, very hot. Temperate rainforests are closer to the coast. So like, for instance, in part of northern California, Alaska, southern Chile, that ocean water regulates the temperature, so it's not as extremely hot. They get more mild summers and winters. A lot of like ferns, those kind of trees. The temperate seasonal forests, like in eastern United States, Japan, China, Europe, eastern Australia, they have deciduous trees. So they're the ones with all the pretty colors. They have warmer summers and cooler winters, and because there's just so much stuff there, they have a lot of decomposition, which is great for the soil. The tropical rainforest, I'm sure you all know about, it's where the cool trees and the toucans, all the fun animal life is found. This is most biodiverse, it's always warm, always rainy. It's also got the poorest soil. And we think, like, what? How could that possibly be the case? There's so much plant life. How could you have poor soil? Well, it's because you have so much plant life that you have poor soil, because as soon as, those nutrients are available for decomposition, they snatch it right up. Shrublands include places like Southern California, where it's very hot and dry all summer, and this leads to wildfires. Because of that, the plants there are very well adapted to fires. In fact, there are certain plant species that don't even germinate until they've been exposed to fire. Temperate grassland are like the prairies. They have cold, harsh winters, hot, dry summers. They're also then adapted to wildfires. The plants there are adapted to wildfires. You see a lot of plants that have really deep root growth that allows them to come back after a fire. Savanna you're all familiar with savanna. It's like Lion King. It's very warm all the time. They have distinct wet and dry seasons. Most of what you'll find there is grass and some deciduous trees, giraffes and zebras and all that. In the desert's hot and dry all the time. Because it's so hot, because it's so dry, things don't grow very well. They have very sparse vegetation. Any plants that do grow there are adapted to the low availability of water, and so they do everything they can to minimize that water loss. For instance, the leaves can be very small, they may be adapted or modified spines, or just not there at all. And finally, tundra is very cold, with very little precipitation. There are no trees in the tundra, they just have low-growing vegetation. Of course, it's all cold all the time, but even during the summer, there's this layer of permafrost, which is impermeable, permanently frozen layer of soil that exists there. And that's going to become important because as we move on and talk about climate change, the warming temperatures is thawing out the permafrost. That's bad because there's methane in that permafrost, and that methane is a greenhouse gas. But there's also a host of other issues with things thawing on the permafrost that we don't want to have thawed out. Alright, next thing I just want to talk about is, it seems kind of obvious, but just to harp on the point a little bit more, where we get our resources is dependent on the climate, geography, latitude, altitude, nutrient availability, and soil of these biomes. So if you look, it's actually pretty interesting. I wish I could have put these two pictures on the same slide, but I couldn't make it work. But you can just go back and forth. The biomes are very similar to where the certain availability of nutrients are. So if you look at things like where are the pastures, or the pastoral communities, where do they grow certain types of crops, it's very similar to the biomes. Like tropical rainforest, you can grow certain plants there like palm oil, and that's going to be an issue when we get to talking about habitat destruction. The reason this is important to know is because the location of those biomes is very dynamic. The distribution has changed in the past, and we're also seeing that change in the future, in our future projections, because of climate change. So this is an issue because certain places that are really used to a certain type of crop, now they have to learn how to be able to grow different types of crops that are more suited to their environment in order to keep up with both economic demand, but then also be able to feed their countries. So, all right, that is all. Now it is your turn to describe the global distribution and principal environmental aspects of terrestrial biomes.